From Dunedin I was not terribly busy really. I moved to Wellington and I got married, and I worked in Wellington Public Hospital for about 2.5 years, and then I had my first child, followed very quickly by a second child, and then my husband went to America where we lived for about 5 years, and so I took off over there with 2 little children, and I honestly really didn't think that I would ever go back to physio. I'd become a mother and was very domesticated, and I really didn't give it another thought. So life went on for a while, and then eventually we moved back to Dunedin, and the children were at school, and I started thinking maybe I might quite like to get back into the profession, but I felt very hesitant because after that length of time I really didn't think, I thought I'd forgotten more than I ever knew. And I had the opportunity of working in an orthopaedic recovery hospital called Hilljack, which I was quite happy to give it a go because I liked orthopaedics and I found it was a fairly cut and dried subject, and I felt quite confident about the fact that I could move back into that area, which I did. And so I worked part-time there for, I can't remember how long, maybe 3 or 4 years. And then one day I had a ring from Billy McLeod, who was head of the school, who told me that she had a real drama, that the students were starting in 2 days, and somebody who was going to be an anatomy demonstrator had let her down. So I said to her, "You're not going to ask me to do it, are you?" And she said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Heavens, Billy, I can't do that. I can't remember anything about my anatomy." And "Oh," she said, "it's easy." She said Grace, who was Grace Wilson, who I have to say was brilliant with her subject, she does all the work. She said she just prepares everything from 1 week to the next, and all you've got to do is demonstrate on the cadavers. And so she said it'll only be one aspect and you've got a whole week to learn it. So, cut a long story short, she talked me into it. So off I went down to the anatomy school. I think it was 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week or something I did. And I have to say that Grace did do the bulk of the work. I just sort of diddled around trying to demonstrate things on the cadavers, and I quite enjoyed it, and I did it for 2 years, and the good thing about it was that it was a total revision of anatomy for me as well, which was quite good if I was thinking of going back to work. So I did that. Then I get another ring from Billy. She asked me if I would be interested in doing some clinical teaching. So once again, I allowed myself to be talked into this, and she said it would be in the orthopaedic area, and I felt reasonably confident about the orthopaedic area, so I agreed to do it. Well, one thing led to another, and she kept moving me around, and I think I did orthopaedics, I did neurology, I did cardiology, and I finally finished up in the respiratory area. I don't think there was anything else in there, but the interesting thing about this was I actually worked harder than the students because every subject I had to get up to date with myself. And I found that I was starting to enjoy teaching, which really surprised me. I didn't think I wanted to be a teacher, but I actually was getting a lot of pleasure out of it. I enjoyed the students. I've always enjoyed working in the hospital scene. And yes, I surprised myself. So that sort of continued, and I seemed to be getting more and more and more into the physio profession again. And then I had to have a discectomy, and that sort of put paid a bit to me doing a lot of heavy lifting and demonstrating and that sort of thing.